That's what you have to say.
Okay, hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your patience. We really appreciate all of you being on time despite the rain. So in terms of the program, I know those of you with folders would have gotten the program, but we just have one small change in terms of the panels themselves. Civic responsibility. Civic responsibility will now be our second panel and will start off with sexual and reproductive health. Right, so we'll start in a little bit, we're just getting the technical things worked out in the back. Once again, thank you for being on time and for being so amazing and awesome. Okay? So Nathan, can I have your head?
Yes, ma'am.
Why not? So because your panels. But I think you just had one person. Yeah.
Sorry. All the pressure will not be on me.
Anyways, and you said hi to somebody you didn't know, probably made a new friend. Like, you know, hi, I'm Francesca. I'm Francesca, I'm Jacob. Another person, I'm Maxine. So I'd like to know you all better, just know maybe a little bit about why they're here, or how they found out about me.
Break the rules, yeah. Break the rules. I tell this story so often because if a slave don't break the rules, wherever they go, you know, so breaking the rules is not as bad as in this case, they're like children.
Support.
But it's not going to be loud. We're not going to hear it. It's just going to be. I'm not technical. You tell me to technical. Video games, you still like stuff, right? I still like pen and paper, except that it gets better to read and now Are you crazy? This is like real. It's real scraps away. And now this rain thing has me too, so like I'm so upset about this because I like everything neat, right? You know, and so it's like, yeah, it's like bad for something. This is not happening right now. I'm taking a moment, taking these notes home. I just wanted to feel like, or something, you know. But you know, there's a theory. I don't know if it's the right theory. I have never backed it up. I never checked it, right? But people who make like untidy notes and stuff are smart, or like actually smart.
I like that theory.
But I said it for you. Oh, then you'll listen to this? Then you'll listen to this. When I'm teaching people I'm not making this, I make them very nervous. Like, you're taking me on your way. I'm wasting my time. I'm always wasting my time. What do I mean by fashion? I'm fashion, I'm So, technically, I'm a producer of line of intermediate, so I'm just technically I'm a producer. I am a business owner of the show because I don't know a sports academy. I don't know the book. Yeah, we have Stop it. We tend to be organized. But I used to use my phone.
A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. Pleasant good afternoon to everyone. So please understand that the microphone is for the purpose of the live feed and not necessarily for the purpose of the persons who are live here. Okay? So, and the stream has begun. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to all viewers online. My name is Kimberly Gilbert. I am the co-chair of the Youth Advisory Group of UNFPA, as well as a board member for training and development of the Caribbean Regional Youth Council. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to our very, I don't know how to describe it, in-depth and necessary discussion that we'll be having this afternoon on safe spaces for youth, specifically in Trinidad and Tobago as we observe International Youth Day 2018, again under the theme, Safe Spaces for Youth. We have with us some esteemed panelists, and what I would like to say to you all is, during this discussion, let us be mindful of the UN's definition of what a safe space is. So we're looking at a civic space, right? They have four definitions. So a civic space is somewhere where you are able to participate in governance or issues affecting governance, so things like the national youth policy, other different policies and so on, youth movements such as the Trinidad Youth Council, the Tobago Youth Council. So when you think of civic spaces, think in that mind frame. There are also well-planned physical spaces. So something like the youth facilities that the ministry has, or maybe the YMCA. So there are a number of places, or maybe even a community center, right? So think about well-planned physical spaces. There's also the digital space. So you all know what that means: Facebook, Instagram, the different social media, all these different things also contribute to space, as well as a fourth one, and I was really trying to remember everything.
Sorry.
A physical space. A public space. Thank you so very much, Shanice. Thank you, Shanice. Good to see you. So we also have a public space, and a public space is something like a sports club or somewhere like a park, you know, something that anybody can join in or anybody can participate in. So those are public spaces. So be mindful of the four spaces when we're having a discussion. That is also a note for the moderators, because I know sometimes when we think about safe space, we think, okay, we find a room and everybody go and we talk. Alright, so again, thanks to everyone for being here. If you are using social media, remember you can share please on SIPA and the Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassadors Network Facebook page. That is where our main stream is, and very soon we'll be streaming on the Trinidad Youth Council, as well as the Caribbean Regional Youth Council. And Ashley, are you handling 2 cents? Yeah. Thank you so very much, alright, and the 2 cents movement as well. Now, I know we are starting a bit late, so I won't talk too much. Lord knows my capabilities. And going to introduce to you all Miss Ella Gaspard, and she will be bringing greetings from UNFPA's Executive Director, Dr. Natalia Canham, on the International Youth Day 2018. So could you all please welcome Ms. Ella Gaspard.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. And again, I am Ella Gaspard, representing the United Nations Population Fund. And so on the heels of International Youth Day, our UNFPA Executive Director released a brief statement just as a reminder of UNFPA's commitment to empower young people in putting them at the center. We want to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and make good on our pledge to leave no one behind. We want to build lasting peace. Therefore, young people belong at the center of our collective efforts. Let us embrace young people as active partners on this journey together. None of our ambitious global goals can be achieved without the meaningful participation of young people. They are our future, and 1.8 billion strong, they are our present. Yet young people, especially adolescent girls, face formidable challenges: staying healthy, getting an education, making their own decisions in life, threats to their rights and well-being today jeopardize their potential to become engaged, productive citizens tomorrow. We have the power and responsibility to help every girl and boy make a safe and healthy transition through adolescence and adulthood. Every space should be a safe space for youth. The home, the classroom, the health center, the tables where policies and peace agreements are penned. For UNFPA, the United Nations Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency, working with and for young people and promoting youth leadership and participation have been a long-standing tradition. Our efforts enable young people to develop the skills, knowledge, and support they need to make informed decisions about their bodies, lives, families, communities, countries, and by extension, our world. Young people are at the forefront of UNFPA's actions to build more equitable, resilient societies where prosperity is shared by all. We join hands with our partners to advance the role of young people in humanitarian action and conflict transformation through the Compact on Young People in Humanitarian Action and United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace, and security. And we are committed to continuing to co-lead this vital work. And the UN Strategy on Youth, to be launched in September, represents the unwavering collective commitment of the United Nations family to step up our work for and with young people under the leadership of the Secretary General. All over the world, young people say, nothing about us without us. At UNFPA, we have heard, learned, and taken this principle to heart. Our partnerships with young people are and must always be based on their active and meaningful participation. Hundreds of millions of adolescent girls are waiting to claim their power and fulfill their potential. With our support, they can claim their rights and realize that potential. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kirby Marie Kettel from the Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassadors Network. I'm the Training and Development Coordinator for the Caribbean and the Americas. And you know, like youth are really important to us at Saipan. So we're really excited and elated about these discussions this afternoon. And we're hoping you're just as excited as well. We have 4 amazing panels. We're looking at sexual and reproductive health, arts and culture, youth movements, and civic responsibility. And when I tell you these panelists are amazing and influential in their own roles, they definitely are. So feel free to pop a question. We will answer them from those of you online as well as those in our live audience. So thank you so much for joining us. And now I'll turn you over to Benedict Bryan.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to say my name is Benedict Bryan, and I will be the moderator for sexual and reproductive health. And I would like to give these fantastic people, because before this session I had the opportunity to speak with some of them. They're really fantastic, but did not lie. And I'll just give them a minute to introduce themselves and what they do, starting with Kevin, who would you like to?
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Kevin Leaping. I am the past chairman of the Youth Advisory Group for UNFP. I am also on the board of Family Planning Association, and I run my own company called East Coast Caribbean League Limited.
Hi, I'm Marsha Riley. Marsha Walker. Oops. It's brand new. I am a mom first, a wife first, a mom second. And basically I produce a line of parenting media. I'm very passionate about parenting because of course our family base, the strength of our family, you know, that's where society lies, right? And what I realized very quickly is that all the work that I can do with young people, it's really difficult if their parents aren't on board and they're pushing against. So for me, I figured I'm going to try to go to the roots, the ones who are making the kids, and you know, if I could get to parents, well then hopefully we have a better chance when we get to the young people. So that's what I do.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katrina McIntosh.
I'm an author. I wrote a book called Letters to the Broken, Healing and Healed, which I delved into mental health awareness, talking about depression, suicide, and talking about child abuse and how these early influences would have contributed to the person that we develop into and the struggles that we have later on in our lives. I'm also the senior writer for Mindwise Project, which I'm so privileged to be a part of. And really, I'm just an advocate for mental health awareness, particularly for persons who are living with mental distress, and helping our communities to understand how to have these persons in our society and have them function and live good lives, live properly, live well, though they may have some sort of mental illness.
Right. Okay, thank you for that. So I just want to start with you because I know we had a discussion about your book. And if you could tell me a little more about your book and what role writing that book played in your journey in advocating for mental health.
Certainly. So that book, as I told you, it started off from a place. So I mentioned to Ben that it started off from a place from Tabanga. I really did not go into writing a book. I had heartbreak and I said, let me just write it all on paper. And what happened is, at the point in time, I was developing my brand called Love Cat, and I decided to use that brand to basically deal with things that I had gone through and that I wish someone had spoken to me about. So I dealt with things like child abuse. I dealt with things as feeling alone and not knowing who to go to, dealing with things as depression, especially as an adolescent girl. I went to a prestige school, and we know in the prestige schools how much these suicidal thoughts and depression are prevalent there, and I wish that someone, some teacher had been able to talk to me. And I just spoke about these things, and I spoke about them in a way where it was a letter format. And it was someone, a young girl, writing a letter to someone else asking for help, and this person responding and being very truthful, being very honest about the experience. And that's really how mental health started for me, because I said, we need more conversations like these happening. We need more direct conversations happening where someone says, hey, I went through this too. It's okay, you're not alone, you're not freaking out. And because at this age, that vulnerable youth age is when mental health issues really come to the forefront. So therefore we need this conversation happening at that age. And yeah, that's where it started.
Okay, great. So I know you mentioned school and the fact that persons may have faced challenges in school and outside of school. Marsha, what role do you think the family has to play in mental health?
What really jumped out at me was that she said she wished she had someone to speak to. And I mean, if I ask any of you guys to ask yourselves inside, because I'm playing on the spot, was that your parent? How many of us were able to go to our parents and say, this is what I'm feeling, and not have them go, Gil, what you gotta be stressed out about? When you reach my age, you go see real stress. You know, because we have 4-year-olds saying, I'm so stressed out, and you laugh at it. But to them, this is their world and they're stressed. And if we start at a young age and kind of put aside all their needs, by the time you're 16, and in my day, you think I could have been thinking about that? And it's just always a judgment from parents, right? And the truth is, and that's why we feel that way, we always feel, I wish I had someone to speak to. But the person that we should want to speak to, or we should be able to speak to, is right there in our home, our moms and our dads. But our parents really doing a good job at being a safe space to come and say anything that's on your mind. I mean, the kind of things that come out from my 8-year-old's mouth, it's like, God, give me grace. You know? I mean, and just to be real, like so kids are all about sex. From young, they're curious. And it doesn't mean that they're perverted or anything. But we like to tune off now. Like, you can't be thinking about that. Yes, they are thinking about it. Get over it and answer their questions. And she came and she's like, so what position do you all have sex in? But I want you to bring anything on your mind, because I don't answer, it doesn't mean it's going to come out of her mind. It just means she's going to find somewhere else to answer it. She's going to get her answer somewhere. She's going to get her comfort somewhere. So we have two choices. Your comfort can come from his arms or from some other man's arms. Your answers can come from me or him or somebody else, right? And we've chosen that we want to be the person you speak to.
Right. So Kim is her parent, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't know. I see him and you might wonder who is him. But
The man who never forgets.
So just building on that, where do you think family planning and looking at family planning comes in to ensuring that there's a safe space, Kevin?
I think that family planning is crucial because so many kids are born right now not planned and they're not, it's just a mistake. And it's just a chance and it's just something that you may regret after the fact. But the thing is as well is a lot of young people as well, because they don't have the education to help them make those informed choices. And as she said correctly, they're curious. So they just, even at young teenagehood, they're just going to experiment and they're going to talk to their friends and experiment with their friends. And then it may even be older persons trying to experiment with them. And they just need to be able to have that education, a space where they could learn all these things, how to protect themselves, how to also say no. And that's where family planning comes in as well. And it also starts with the parents. It does start from home. And then it has to extend to where else they learn education, which is in the secondary schools or the school system.
Okay, nice. And apologies, I think my mic was off all this time. So apologies to everyone on the live feed. But so that's an excellent point to me. But anything else in terms of understanding the home and creating that safe space, what recommendations would you give a parent who is now starting and trying to create that safe environment for their kids?
Okay, well first, not be judgmental, right? And when you, and it's not just a matter of not being judgmental, but we do need to watch every single word that we say. I use an example once of, you know, when somebody else's child walk out of the house in a pom-pom shorts, you go, my child can't do that. So you're not judging me, but I'm getting from you what your take on that matter is, right? I'm getting from you the feel that you're not judgmental, that you are judging. And so if I had the desire to put on a pair of shorts, I know very well I can't come and talk to my mother about that because she's already expressed her view on it in a very condescending manner. She hasn't done it in an open mind. And we must aim to be really open-minded. And there is nobody who's stricter than I am. And my kids still can't watch TV and this and that. And also, so, you know, like her list is so tiny and she's not allowed secular music. So many things. So being open-minded doesn't mean that you have no rules, right? But so when we talk about sex, right? Because sex is a glorious thing, and I do think that our sexual education is really poor because there's no way you could tell me don't have sex, it's good, it's not good, it's not good, it's not good, and then expect me to pleasure my husband when I get older, right? So it's a whole confusing dynamic. So my daughter knows that sex is glorious, sex is amazing, and it's something that you should do all the time once you're married. And then I explained to her in a real way, because that's what you asked. You asked for honest, you wanted somebody to come down and don't be all political with me, be real. Say, I was there. Right. This is what I did, right? I masturbated when I was 7. I had no idea that I would, let me tell you, don't look at me like that, you see? That's what it is, that's what it is. And so your child in the audience has seen your facial expression and knows that if they're doing it, to not say it. And that's where we have to really train ourselves so that they're looking on at your third-party reaction.
Right.
And they know and they're making decisions based on your third-party reaction. Right. But guess what? Do you know how many little kids are masturbating? They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea that they're helping themselves get an orgasm. It's just like candy, it's just like salt, it's just like something else. We chew our nails, you know, we pull our hair, we do stuff, it's a body part, and it was meant to feel a certain way, right? And so they do it. And then they go show their friends, and then their friends are like, oh, that feels kind of good. But who here telling their 7-year-old, what you feeling down there? You really shouldn't be feeling it, right? I know it feels good, but and we able to sit down and go, well, you know, baby, if you have more candy, you're going to feel sick. We able to say that. We able to say one bit of ice cream, and then after that, it's not really good because it's good for you, not good for your teeth and whatever. So why can't we say, I know the tingle that you feel in your vagina feeling good, but I promise you, that X, Y, and Z will happen if you go off and just let that thing go feel good all the time. Because you're teaching them self-control. You're not teaching them that you need to seek to never feel pleasure, right? But we know that there are pleasurable things out there, but we are human beings who are able to be in control. And so I'm not hiding from you what pleasures are out there, but I'm suggesting to you that there are real consequences for just not having any boundaries and going and seeking pleasure any which way you want.
Right.
So that's a real conversation. So we've got to be real. We've got to give them the answers they want to hear, because they're seeing through all your political garbage.
Okay.
Right? She said it. I wanted somebody to have a conversation with me. I wanted somebody to say it's okay. So if you come and tell me, like she's come and said, I think I felt that tingle. Because she's designed to feel the tingle. Right? Boys from very early get a hard on. Right? And I talk to parents all the time, so I know. A 6-year-old had intercourse with a 3-year-old. They have no idea what they're doing. But he discovered it can go up, and he can discover there's a hole to put it in.
Right.
These things happen, but nobody's having the conversation to tell you this is happening, this is that. We've got to really be real and honest and say it's okay.
Yeah, well, I'm happy about the work that you're doing in terms of speaking to parents about things like this, because, and thank you for being very honest. I'm trying to get past my judgment. Thank you for being very honest about your experience as a parent and what you have been experiencing so far. So, quick question to you, Katrina. Interacting with the public and writing your book, how has that helped you? Because I know you said there were challenges around that, and then you went out asking for questions. But asking people who are random and then they're responding to you, how do you think that helped? Because some of these people might be coming with their own issues as well. How do you establish that safe space or understand that dynamic in terms of safe space and mental health and the public?
I think, well, I wouldn't say for me, but for the person who would have been writing in the book, right? So the young girl we're talking to, the young boy we're talking to. I think that one of the things that I have noticed, especially when I go to workshops, I hate when I go to workshops and I have to speak about mental health, and I have to tell my kids, okay, so this is a safe space. So anything that you say here, it can stay here. And the reason why I hate it is because I shouldn't have to tell them these things. This should be something that is embedded in their culture. They should know that any space that I go into, I am okay, I am safe, I am around people that will not judge me, will not judge my opinion. Just as Marsha rightly said, I feel like in too many spaces, whether it be our churches, whether it be with our peers, when they're around teachers, even with their parents, young people are just feeling judged and stigmatized every day. They are bad, they are no good. Look at how them young people there. Look at how they do it. Everything is utter. It's like they can do no good. And now they're having issues with their mental health. And their mental health is also making them do bad things. And a culture and a society is telling them, well, all you are is bad. So you see how the dynamic is now, it's just becoming this volcano. Because my mind is telling me to do these things. I don't understand why I'm reacting the way I am. Especially, let's move away from even the normal disorders that we know about, the depression, the suicide. Let's talk about things like bipolar and anxiety disorder and PTSD. Let's talk about those explosive disorders and compulsive disorders. When we go there and we talk even about the sex disorders as well, and the addictions, and children who are 7-year-old drinking too much and smoking. And when we go there and we say they are having these feelings, but there's nowhere for them to go because their church is telling them they're no good, they're doing bad. Their parents are telling them they're no good, they're doing bad. Their teachers are telling them the same thing, and it's just a repeated cycle, and they're lost. They're completely lost, and we need these conversations, we need these spaces, not just amongst ourselves, but we need these spaces in the schools, in the communities where they're at, to tell them that these things are okay, let's talk about it, because the reality is each and every one of us that's in this room and that's on the live stream went through the same thing, but we refuse to talk about it. refuse to be honest and say, yeah, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
Right. So I want to just say thanks for that, and I do agree with you. We all have a responsibility in not only building that safe space, but creating that safe space as well. So I think, moving forward, we should all think, okay, what can I do to create a safe space for my peers and people around me, or people who are not even my peers, like establish that either physical or mental area that people could feel open. But we have a question from Donna Ali, and she wanted to know, and I guess you guys could just give me in one sentence. So how do we educate meaningfully about mental health and mental and reproductive health and safe space in the context of that?
You can only educate meaningfully if your information is correct. So before you can educate someone else, you have to educate yourself. He said it, parents are all becoming parents by chance. We've got to get on the information train, get the information correct before we start passing off nonsense.
I would follow up with what Marsha said. I think once you've educated yourself and remove the stigmas, then you start your mentorship. We have lacked a lot of mentorship and passing down, and a young person able to talk to an older person and just being honest. And I think we need more of that mentorship going on, because the reality is our parents are not there. The reality is our fathers are not there. There are some mothers that are not there. And we need older persons in the community, leaders in the community, picking up that mantle and saying, here's what. Let me find somebody in the community to mentor. Let me be that father. Let me be that mother to that person.
And I would also add to that, Family Planning Association does have a space in which young people can come and reach out to. It's called the Living Room. It's right on Oxford Street. And there's always somebody there that is willing to help and to give assistance, especially to young people.
Okay, so quick thing, what opportunities can you recommend that, in your opinion, are a safe space for youth? That's a tricky question. So let me repeat it. So what opportunities can you recommend? Or not even opportunities, let's say areas, where can they go that would be a safe space for youth? Family Planning Association, is more for parents or
no, so there's a clinic which is located right on Oxford Street and New Street, and that's where most of the clinic or testing is done for the adults in per se. But then there's also the young people's clinic, which is in the living room, and you can access services. We also do tests in order for young people, especially when it comes to HIV, etc. So it is a safe space for young people. They can feel a sense of comfort coming into it. They are not judged, and I think that's one of the things that we as a society need to do, stop judging people, because we're all, I would say, just making the hustle to just live our life and then die at the end of it. So it doesn't make sense to judge somebody based on what their life goals or what their life choices are, and we should just be all good human beings.
Well, social services, they do have free counseling. So you can reach out to social services. You can find out where they, depending on where you live, where, I only know the one person, but they do have one in each district. So you can reach out to them. I think they are fairly efficient, and it's free.
There are the Child Guidance Clinic, which is on Pembroke Street. So for persons who need to be actually diagnosed and assessed, there's the Child Guidance Clinic. There's also the CAM project, which is done through the St. Joseph Health Center, and it's for persons that are between the ages of 12 to 19, and again, they do the assessments, they do the counseling, because some children, and some adults as well, because we know youth goes up to 24, they may need medication to help them for certain mental issues, so they do provide medication. Through the CDAM program as well, medication is available. It may not be the brand new versions that we're accustomed to, like the Prozac or whatever, but there are medications available and they are free. We also have a number of health centers. So if you go on Ministry of Health website, they do have the list of mental health centers that are available, and it's across the country in Tobago as well. So there are a number of avenues available. They usually do counseling and new cases like Tuesdays and Fridays, but they have the listing available on what days to do, so you can go. It is available.
Right. So before I wrap up, I'd just like to say to anyone listening and everyone here, if you ever think that you need someone, talk to anyone, talk to a friend, talk to someone close by, just be willing to be open, because I think the first step is just speaking and getting your voice heard, or having someone listen. And to people on the other end, if someone is speaking to you, be open to listen to them and not just respond, but actively listen. So I just want to thank my panel today for the excellent discussion and brutal honesty.
We can plug your Facebook page and take off.
I mean, if you guys want to do it quickly, like a a little.
What's your name on Facebook, you?
Kevin Leothing.
Marsha Lorraine.
Right.
Katrina McIntosh.
Alright, fantastic. So follow these guys and I'll hand over to Cuba Marie.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Awesome, Dylan. Thank you. We have like an absolutely amazing set of panelists. They're outstanding, right? So, that was our sexual and reproductive health, because it's important that we create safe spaces in every area and sphere of our lives.